I'm Zoe Aber. I'm a horticulturalist here at Powell Gardens. So a conifer is a pretty big division, basically in the Coniferi division. It's any cone-bearing tree, shrub, anything that reproduces with cones. There's deciduous conifers, like a Dawn redwood. Most of them are evergreens, so it's like going to be pines that keep their needles all year long. They can be tall, like Christmas trees that you're used to, or like low spreading shrubs. And there's blue, neon green. It's a big variety. So the conifer collection here is all dwarf conifers. It started around 2000 when they had a Christmas show. They had a bunch of model trains and then little tiny Christmas trees, and they decided to plant them outside, and obviously since then they've grown to be quite large. It's mostly centrally located right next to our visitor center, and there's over 100 cultivars of all different dwarf conifers. So our collection is all, like I said, dwarf conifers. So it's going to be conifers that are made out of sports, which are basically, you'll see a conifer in the wild and it's going to have a unique branch. So it's got some variegation, it's really tightly bunched, or the needles are different, and then people take that and graft it and make a unique conifer that's got a different way of having needles, a different appearance. And so that's all of our conifers in the reference garden. So they're all relatively unique because there's only so many that got produced out of that graft. We've got some that are like only a couple were made, some that are more widely produced through different nurseries, but just a good collection. So this is kind of the outer edge of the conifer garden. We have some boxwood edges, some beautiful blue spruces here. This is one of our hugest, our largest specimens. It's an Acrocona spruce, and in the spring it's really stunning. The cones come out like a hot pink, and it's gorgeous. So this is a pine, and it's a spreading pine. So it grows really rapidly for a dwarf conifer, like 12 to 18 inches a year. And you can train it upwards, but otherwise it'll just kind of go crazy horizontal, and just really a unique, you don't see a lot of pines that look quite like that. Another one I really like is one of our most recent additions, and it's under this little cage because out here we have quite a bit of deer, and if you have a lot of deer, you may need to protect especially your smaller conifers, because one bite off of that in the winter and it's gonna be gone. So this is a Hinoki cypress. It's named after Emily, which is Marvin Schneider's wife. He's really important in the American Conifer Society. He was a former president. He designed most of this garden. A friend of his created this type of conifer and named it after his wife. So there's not very many of these, and it's very cool we have one. Another one that's more recent is over here, and it's this larch, which is actually a deciduous conifer. The vast majority are probably going to be evergreens and keep their needles all year long. But this weeping Julian's weeper is very interesting. You can train it to be tall. Once it gets bigger and more full, it's going to be this kind of like giant mound of branches kind of weeping down. It's got a beautiful kind of gray-blue needle. And yes, in the fall, it'll lose its needles and it'll be bare and kind of sad, and then it'll flush out again. I mean, conifers are wonderful as far as they're a winter interest, so you'll have something beautiful and green all year long, at least all the evergreens. They're gonna provide some structure, so like if you're gonna design your garden, if you have some conifers in there, they're a more like sturdy element to any kind of garden. But they also have a beautiful spring element as well. Any like spruces, pines are going to produce tips or candles and little brightly colored cones, so you'll get some beauty through that too. So conifers, I mean, they're all over the world, all different environments. They're always a great place for different species to live in, especially birds, nesting habitats. They're going to be pretty central to the environment, central to hosting different animals, hosting different pests, not always to their benefit. And then also just they're taking in CO2 all the time. Great for the, producing oxygen all year round, unlike deciduous trees. I think our most important aspect of conservation is just introducing people to conifers and introducing and hopefully inspiring a greater love of them. We have such a variety in helping to educate and see that it's more than just, the Christmas tree you used to once a year. There's so many beautiful versions, and they're so worth investing your time and appreciation in.